Hi, I'm Ben Turpin and welcome to Whip Finish Industries, the final step in your fly fishing experience. Today we're tying flies that you're going to need in your box throughout the season. So we're working on general imitation patterns. So this is the Parachute Adams, one of the best flies for imitating gray colored mayflies. Also a great searching pattern throughout the year. Parachute Adams is best tied in a size 12 down to a 20, but you're going to find that you're going to fish the 14s and 16s the most. So we're going to start out with a Tiemco Model 100 dry fly hook in our Regal Vise. We're going to use some 8/0 black thread, and we're going to tie onto our hook shank about 3 eye widths back from the eye. We're going to just make a nice base to attach our parapost material. You can read through the material list down below if you scroll down below the video, and you'll be able to find all the materials we're using to tie the Parachute Adams. So this is the parapost. It's a synthetic material. It's very easy to work with, and we're just going to measure that. We're going to want roughly the length of the hook shank, a little longer if anything, because you can always trim the synthetic material when you're done. We're going to attach it to our hook shank, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take our scissors and we're going to trim down on an angle, and that way when we wrap our thread over the butt section there, it makes a nice taper down to the hook shank. Okay, once we have that secure, we're going to pull up our fibers of our parapost and we're going to make a little thread dam in front of those fibers. And what that's going to do is it's going to hold this post material and hold it up at a 90-degree angle from the hook shank. If you have any unruly fibers, you can trim them out as you're working. So we crossed over, we went behind the parapost, and we're going to work our way to the bend of the hook. We're just going to take a couple turns to make a little bump there. That'll help spread out our fibers of our tail. Now on the side of your dry fly neck, you're going to find what they call a spade feather, and that's these feathers with the long fibers on the side. Okay? You can get several flies out of one spade feather. So we're going to take that, where you're going to see a bare spot from where I pulled fibers off earlier. We're going to get about 6 fibers, and we're going to keep them in our thumb and our forefinger. I'm going to transfer them to the other hand. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to find 5 or 6 fibers, and the goal here is to mix the tail together. So we're going to have grizzly and brown fibers mixed together, and once you get them together, you just kind of take your thumb and forefinger and kind of twist them a little bit, and they do mix together nicely. I have one that's a little long. I'm going to pull that out. Now I'm going to use the hook shank to gauge the length of my tail, and I want my tail to be the length of the hook shank. Once I get the tail the right length, I'm going to tie in the tail. It's nice and secure. And now we're ready to dub our body. So the dubbing is going to be an Adams gray color superfine dubbing. We're going to take that synthetic dubbing and we're just going to twist it onto the thread. And this stuff dubs really easy. It's great stuff. You can go down the material list and find the Adams gray dubbing, and it makes a nice fine dry fly body. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make a nice tapered body, working our way from the bend of the hook up to the wing post and right up to the post. And that'll be our body. Nice slender body. Mayflies have slender bodies, and that's what we want. Okay, so I sized 2 hackles off my grizzly, one off my grizzly and one off my brown neck. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull those fibers back and we're going to trim off the fluff. And then we're going to strip off about 1/8 inch of the feathers. Okay, and I'm going to take that feather and I'm going to tie it with the dull side facing down in behind the post wing. I'm going to take a piece of grizzly hackle and do the same thing, strip off the stem tie that in. Make sure you get it facing down the way you want it. Got a little stray piece of fiber there. Now I'm going to capture those stems and make sure they're secured down towards the eye of the hook. Trim off any extra. And then I'm going to take some more of that Adams gray dubbing, and I'm going to cover that thorax area, or that near that post area, to make sure we have all the hook shank covered up before we finish the fly. A little bit of thread that I want to cover up there. Work my way back. Now we don't want to get right on top of the eye. We want to have enough room to finish our fly. Now we're going to take our brown feather and we're going to wrap four turns. Take the thread, work it over the end of the hackle, and we want to try to keep from trapping too many fibers in there. So if you saw, I took my thumb and my forefinger and I pulled up on those hackles that are going out over the front. Trim that. And now we're going to take our grizzly hackle and we're going to mix that into the brown. All right, so now that we've got that wrapped, we're going to take our thread. Make sure you get the eye of the hook when you come around. Get it around the shank. We'll trim the extra there. We'll pull up on our hackle. Make sure that we don't get it too much of it trapped in there. We'll build a little thread head. This is the time to go in and clean out anything that got trapped. We'll do a whip finish. The hardest part about tying parachute patterns is keeping your thread from catching too much of that hackle. So it's a challenge, but definitely a thing to practice throughout the winter. So this post is definitely too high. When you look at it right away, you say, Ben, that doesn't look right. So I'm going to go about a length of a hook shank, trim through it, and now we have the appropriate wing height for our parachute Adams. As I said earlier, this is a great all-around pattern. It just matches a variety of mayflies, great searching pattern as well. Scroll down through the list. Make sure you've got good hackle for tying your dry flies, that you've got that super fine dry fly dubbing, because it actually floats and it makes a great dubbing material for the dry flies. And any other materials you might need will be listed in our material list. Thank you for watching Whip Finish Industries, and we'll see you next time.